This is nonsensical, child's brain stream of consciousness garbage.
I actually don't think a child could follow this film.
No, that's the complaint, actually.
A young man, soon-to-be mom, disappears into the woods. Then he goes to rescue her. Meanwhile, he's being harassed by a heron, which leads him into a world of other birds. Oof, it's dumb. Imagine someone explaining their dreams to you. Yeah, it's that stupid.
What?
Oh my God.
That was a 2-star review from IMDb. Hello and welcome to Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Andrew.
Hello.
And Steven. I got 2 herons in the studio with me.
I don't think that's how herons sound.
You don't know that for a fact, though.
Maybe
you
not.
Ornithologist, get out of here.
Probably not.
And in this episode, we're reviewing The Boy and the Heron, the latest movie from the retired, then unretired.
Then
Hayao
retired
Miyazaki.
again, and then unretired again.
Then unretired, then retired again.
He could retire. It could be his last film.
Probably not.
It could be his last. No, he's already working. He's already said he's working
I
on
know.
the next.
Yeah, he's like,
So-
I have things to say.
They're gonna come in to open the studio one day. He's just gonna be dead in the chair.
So dark.
Cigarette still in hand, pencil in the other.
Yeah. The name of the movie is The Boy and the Heron. And when I went to the theater to see it, there was this older gentleman, I'll say, speaking to someone. And he said, yeah, you going to see that Boy with the Goose movie? No, I'm sorry. That Kid with the Goose movie is what he said. And
my gosh.
I was getting my popcorn and I heard this behind me and I cackled out loud. And then the dejected teenager that was trying to hand me the popcorn bucket was like, what? Because that Kid and the Goose?
That Kid and the Goose.
The dude who took our tickets at AMC was like, oh yeah, I really want to see that, but they don't have any showings the day I'm off.
Sad.
Dang, that sucks, man.
The Kid and the Goose is going to be great, guys.
Bummer, dude.
So,
right.
well, before we start, here's just a meme that we actually posted on Discord, and
Yes.
it's relevant to this.
Yeah.
Disney, we're in a creative rut, I guess. Ghibli, we cannot restrain this old man from directing another beautiful film about grief featuring the freakiest little guys.
The freakiest little guys. That's a really good analogy for a lot of Ghibli movies.
Well, I mean, like Miyazaki has been in and out of retirement for like over a decade now.
For sure.
Where he'll finish a movie. He finished Wind Rises. He's like, I'm done. I'm never coming back again.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, I have something else to say. What that is, we're not quite sure, but it's something.
Yeah, he goes to the movies. This is it. This is what they're making. That's it. Coming out of retirement.
He's like, I'm retired. I'll just, put on the latest Disney. Oh, this is trash.
I must fix this.
I must. Okay, let's kick things off with a plot summary. Okay,
For The Boy and the Heron.
that Kid and the Goose. All right, a young boy named Mojito. Not Mojito, sorry, Mojito.
Mojito.
I was a Mojito. Let me get one of your mojitos. Mojito.
Whoa now.
Yearning for his mother, ventures into a world shared by the living and the dead. There, death comes to an end, and life finds a new beginning. A semi-autobiographical fantasy from the mind of Hayao Miyazaki.
Semi-autobiographical? I guess we'll get into that in the trivia?
A little bit, yeah.
I didn't know about that. Yeah.
His childhood, basically.
So did he go to a world full of parakeets?
Well, obviously, look at what he animates. No,
Did he lose his mom?
His mom,
early on?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it's that's the part of. I think his dad's job was the same as
Mojito's his love for aviation.
Yeah, well,
makes
that makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
I think I do remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, this movie was released in the U.S. at least December 8th, 2023. Directed and written by Hayao Miyazaki. Music by Joe Hisaishi.
Yep.
Hisaishi. The Japanese voice cast is Soma Santoki, Masaki Suda, Ko Shibasaki, Yoshino Kimura, and Jun Kunimura. English voice cast, which is a stacked deck here.
It's ridiculous.
Christian Bale, Dave Bautista, Gemma Chan, Willem Dafoe, Karen Fukuhara, Mark Hamill, Luca Padovan, Robert Pattinson, and Florence Pugh, and other people.
A ton of
Can
people.
I say that the voice Robert Pattinson did. I thought that character was voiced by Mark Hamill.
I did too.
The whole film.
Or I didn't think it was Mark Hamill. I just thought it was not Robert Pattinson.
I thought that I was like, oh, this is Mark Hamill's character. And then it ended. I was like, nope.
So I've seen some excerpts because I watched the Japanese language version.
So I saw the dubbed just because of the time slot. It was the only one that really worked for when I could see it because they did a weird thing with the subs of like when it was available.
It was really weird.
It was awkward. Yeah, I saw the dub.
Yeah,
because Hayao Miyazaki has said that he wants you to watch it in the language of where you are.
Take that,
then you can focus on the animation.
I understand.
He said it with a cigarette in his head too.
oh, you know he did.
This is also the same guy that said he hates anime. Who creates anime?
Also, though, I watched it in dub to guarantee because I knew Andrew would watch sub. It guaranteed we'd have one of us watching it in each.
Yes.
Because I didn't know Ryan over here wild card.
I would have probably saw it in sub if I could have.
You had the opportunity.
Looking at the times, I was like, I've got it. And I have watched a lot of the way I usually approach Ghibli movies and Miyazaki movies specifically is I watch it the first time dubbed just so I can appreciate all the animation. I don't have to worry about reading it.
This movie has some phenomenal animation.
Oh yeah,
just
absolutely
like incredible.
And then I usually watch it a second time subbed, and then then I've already seen the movie, so I'm aware of the animation stuff. Okay, what were you gonna say about the sub? You said something weird.
Oh well, no. So I watched it in the sub, but I watched a couple clips with Robert Pattinson doing the voice of the Heron, and it's wild.
It is
right.
So I am like,
dude, the more he does, the further he gets him from Twilight, the more I respect him as an actor.
He's a fantastic
really good
actor.
So if you haven't seen The Lighthouse, check it out. He's really good in that. Him and Willem Dafoe. I'm like preternaturally good at picking out voices, especially in like animation. Like my wife and I are rewatching King of the Hill, and there's like 1,000 guest stars.
Oh, there are
a million. Yeah.
And like every time somebody comes on, I'm like, oh, that's Tom Petty. You know, like they're like 3 sentences in. I'm like, oh, that's. And so I never, not at one point throughout this movie was like, well, that's Robert Pattinson. No. Got to be him. Because I went into this movie very cold. Like I didn't watch any trailers.
That is what you're supposed to do because that is what Miyazaki wanted.
Exactly.
No marketing.
So I didn't know who from the English voice cast would even be in there when I went to the dub. So like Christian Bale immediately was, that's Christian Bale.
I saw
he's
a
a very unique voice. Yeah.
But throughout the film, I kept being like, so what character does Pattinson voice? Because I haven't seen like, is this some other character going to show up right towards the end?
It was the goose.
The Heron all along.
Okay. So the box office for this movie, as of the time of recording, is 24.4 million US, 88 million international, with 120 million worldwide combined.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
The budget without promotion, just the budget of the
Which
film.
there was no promotion. So
there wasn't
the
a whole
budget,
lot. It was 95 million.
Yeah. So it's made us money.
That's pretty. I won't lie. That's pretty expensive.
It is.
It's more expensive than I thought it was. It is. Now it's all hand animated, and that's an expensive process. But also,
like 99% hand animated.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's mostly.
Yeah.
I'll slide into one piece of trivia.
Get in there.
This is the most expensive movie in Japanese cinematic history.
Period.
Like live action and
the most expensive movie in Japanese cinematic history.
Andrew?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I was like,
That's
no
crazy.
way. I looked it up. I was like, wow, this is the most expensive Japanese movie.
If they're making movies like Godzilla -1 for $13 million.
They're like, this is $95 million? Like, oh my God.
Well, and Miyazaki's probably one of the only ones that could command that price.
Oh, for sure.
And bring in the investment to be like, we're going to make our money back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And again, this movie was started in like 2016. So like COVID probably played a factor in the inflation of the budget. Who knows? But like,
still, like Disney's over here, like, we can't do hand animation because it costs too much. So anyways, here's CGI for $200 million.
What? Honestly, though, probably whenever COVID happened, Miyazaki just sat in his house and just hand animated whatever rest of the film was available.
I'll do it. Give me a cigarette.
He was probably just like, keep smoking, boys. It keeps the COVID away.
It keeps the COVID. Burn it off.
Where's the goose?
Where's that kid and the goose? All right, so let's get into our overall thoughts. What did everybody think?
I'm curious about what you guys thought. I'll go last.
Okay. Do you want to go first, Steven? Or do you want me to jump in?
I mean, sure. I can go whenever.
Well, hop in.
All right, I'm in.
Put me on the couch.
This is an absolute fever dream of a film. It is buck wild, and every time there's a moment that happens where I was like, boy, that was really weird. Within flat 15 seconds, it got weirder. And we've pretty well established, on my end at least, that when we were like, hey, we're going to watch something, it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. It's going to be kind of whimsical. I'm in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in. This was, I feel like this film kind of goes against the way a lot of Ghibli films are perceived. Because like when you look at something like Kiki's Delivery Service, right?
Yes.
It's what I would call like a cozy film.
Yes.
And this is not a cozy film.
No.
This has got some pretty heavy stuff in it.
Right from the start.
That just comes out, it comes out swinging.
It is probably, I mean, one of the most difficult Miyazaki movies in terms of subject matter.
Yeah, he covers a lot of difficult themes for being perceived as like this kid's animator. Yeah, fluffy films. He covers a lot of difficult themes.
Just because I'm the only one in this room currently that has seen The Wind Rises, I'm going to let you guys talk.
Okay, then why'd you interrupt us?
I'm just saying.
Weird flex, but I guess.
Well, no, because like Wind Rises is also
it's a heavy
very
film.
adult.
Right. Okay. Of course it is. But like the typical Western perception of Ghibli
is
films.
Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kiki's Delivery, Totoro.
Howl's Moving Castle.
It's very fluffy film.
Yes. This is not that film.
This is not that film.
No, yeah.
This is hard hitting, comes at you. And like when I get into just bonkers, bizarre, weird. Let me tell you, of all the things, because again, I didn't watch promotion for this film, right, as Miyazaki intended.
Yeah.
Of all the things that I expected to have happen, I sure didn't expect a heron to open its mouth and just Wario be there.
Right, yeah.
Like just, boom, it's me, Wario.
Yeah. I'm really mad Waluigi didn't show up. I'm pretty PO'd about that.
They had an opportunity for it, too.
I mean, well, could the parakeet be considered Waluigi?
No, you would know it if Waluigi was. Okay, so I went into this, obviously, like I said, I didn't watch any trailers. I saw like
Cold
one
turkey.
promotional still.
I was very upset that I actually saw stills to this film before I got into it.
I think I saw like 2 stills, and then I saw the list of the English voice cast.
Yes.
Right, so I didn't really know what to expect. I was like, okay, I feel like it's probably going to be more serious than some of his other stuff, like Kiki's Delivery Service, obviously.
Which is still honestly a serious film. It's just fluffier.
Yeah.
And I when I first came out of the movie, I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
Now my initial reaction to it, I think, is more because it is a very it's a very heavy subject matter.
Yes.
And again, knowing that it's a little bit autobiographical makes it a more personal story.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say I was craving whimsy necessarily, but there is I guess I would say it's like the rhythm to a story. There's a cadence that a lot of Miyazaki movies kind of
this
have.
one doesn't really
have
And
that
it
rhythm.
kind of abandons that. And so it's very dreamlike. There's definitely a lot of things in it that are like, ethereal and unexplained. And that's fine. I'm fine with movies like that. But usually in Miyazaki movies, when you have imagery that's like wild and weird and there's weird little guys doing stuff,
the Wada-Wadas or whatever.
There is some sort of like an emotional I guess through line, like a story that follows a somewhat familiar beat.
Better backing and framing to that moment. Yeah.
To the moment. So that even when something weird is happening, the ground underneath you is that like, okay, this person loves this person and this is going to happen. Like you still have like a thing.
You still have you have a through line.
You have frames of reference.
And so this movie, the main character for me was harder to like get behind than like some of his other movies where it's like because he's very silent through a lot of it.
He doesn't really talk a lot.
He doesn't talk a lot. And so you don't have that moment like you do in something like A Spirited Away where you have like this obvious main character who you're pulling for the whole way through. You know what I mean? And then upon reflecting on the movie after I got out of it, I was like, I think part of the reason I didn't like it initially is because I think I went into it with the wrong expectations.
Yes.
I would like to now rewatch it knowing what it is because the animation's incredible. Obviously, right?
Bonkers.
The music's incredible.
It's honestly, I think, the best animated film that he's done.
Yeah, it is
without question.
Execution of hand animation on a level that is just like unparalleled. Right, it's fantastic. The music's great.
The music's really good.
The presentation's on point. It's just I was left wanting a little more out of the story, but I think it's because I didn't understand the type of story it was trying to tell.
Yeah.
And part of that's because I went in cold and my own just preconceived ideas of what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it, I think, is a little bit of the movie's fault a little bit. I think there are different ways this movie could have done the same story and done it a little bit better, I feel like.
So this is a bad comparison. Andrew's about to probably get really mad at me.
Sure.
Probably not.
But the film had a little bit of a feel, the same feel that Neverending Story has to it.
Ooh, no.
I told you he's going to
He got so mad. Look, he's red.
He's so angry. But
He's Waluigi.
he's all arm and leg.
The Waluigi was coming from inside the house all along.
But it has that same kind of just disjointed where you're almost kind of like, I don't know where we're going. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be going.
So I think that
personally
you
on
guys,
this journey.
Yeah.
I think that you guys are using the wrong analogy here.
Okay.
And I'm going to educate you.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is going to be terrible.
Okay, so
Prepared for disappointment.
so quick backstory. I grew up in a household with two professional musicians. One is a classical musician and one is a jazz musician.
Yeah.
And
Like oil and water.
there's so many different levels of jazz music. Like you have
One of them makes scrambled eggs. One of them makes poached eggs. Hey.
basically the best way to describe it is you have structured jazz, which is like actual jazz tracks like Moanin' and
Autumn Leaves.
Like Sing 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 with a Swing. That's kind of big band, but it's in the same general realm. It's structured music, and you have a beginning, middle, and end to each of those songs, and you have a throughput line that goes all the way through it.
Yeah.
This is Miyazaki's version of freestyle jazz. And it is a very personal thing. And that is very much how freestyle jazz is.
Yeah.
Because it's not that he has an idea of obviously where he wants to go with it.
Sure.
But it's not in the sense of it's where he wants to go with it, not where he wants you to go with it, if that makes any sense.
So what you're saying basically is the film is for him.
Yes.
And we're just here partaking in it alongside him.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't think this is a film that he could have made earlier on in his career.
Oh, absolutely not.
You have to have
yeah.
the clout.
Yeah, this is like
I've
built an animation empire, and I'm coming out of retirement to do what I want to do.
Yeah, this is a very personal film to him. Obviously, it's autobiographical in some sense.
Yeah,
but it's also like you could definitely tell throughout the film that he really has a lot of emotion attached to all of the characters and the story beats that are happening, regardless of whether it makes, I'll say, narrative sense all the way through. And I was very similar to you, Ryan. Whenever I got out of it, I was like, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
Just because I was expecting something a little bit more structured like Wind Rises or something like that. I was expecting that same level of like emotional depth to it.
Through line, yeah.
But it didn't have that. But then after sitting here for pretty much 2 weeks, kind of like ruminating on it and thinking on it and everything like that, I've really come to appreciate what he did with it. Yeah. But it's also one of those movies where whenever I get to being able to watch it again, I think I'm going to really appreciate the film a lot more the second time through.
This is the kind of film, because I have the same boat as y'all, where like when the film ended, I was like, boy, I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've been kind of pulled in a bunch of different directions, and like I'm going to stand up out of my chair and be like, do I go left or right?
It's kind of exhausting.
It is. And I think part of it is the film throws so much at you that it is, it's the elephant, right? Like, how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time? It's still a lot to eat. Like, you got to digest that down. And so it's the same factor where when the film ends, you're not like, oh, wow, that was like, oh, wow, what a message. Oh, that was really great. Oh, it all tied up with a bow. You walk out and like, I think everyone I saw it with, because I saw it with a decently large group of people. Yeah. We walked out and like everyone was pretty quiet, and it was kind of like, well, I don't know how I feel about it. And like, sitting on it now for weeks, and it is quite a journey. It's again, it's not that fluffy, easy mass market appeal movie either.
No,
not
at all.
Like it's very different from that style.
And I think so after I got out of the movie and let it sit for like a day or two, and I was listening to the whole soundtrack again,
the
which is
so good.
Probably one of Joe's best scores he's ever done.
Oh yeah, it's all so very good.
It's incredible, very emotional, and very direct to like. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just really, really good.
It matches the movie.
It does. Yeah. But so then I went and watched a trailer for it. And I'm so glad that I didn't see a trailer for this film before I went to go see it.
What did the trailer look like? I didn't even think.
It was exactly what you would think a Ghibli movie trailer would be.
They just showed all the fun parts.
It told you nothing, basically.
It told you nothing, and it told you everything that was incorrect about what the film is about.
That's a dangerous bait and switch.
And it's dangerous because I think this is one of the reasons why I think is a good thing that he didn't want any marketing for this film, because it is such a good thing going into this with nothing.
Well, it's also like, if you're going to have marketing, how do you market something this personal?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think that's kind of the thing is like, so I've had a couple other friends message me like after they saw it, and they were like, I think I should have waited for streaming for this. Like, I didn't like it. And I'm like, well, it's not like you shouldn't have been inspecting Ponyo or Totoro or anything like that. Like, this is clearly like something that he wanted to come and do, not that like he needed to do.
We're not going to see like Heron plushies on every shelf.
Yeah, like it's just such a different film in his library that he's done. It's just really hard to describe outside of just being. It's probably his most personal one that he's done. So, are you looking for something that is actually very clear and concise of where you can find it and not obtuse at all? Podcast.com has all of our episodes and previous episodes, bonus previews, all the stuff that you can just get whenever you want. You don't even have to think about it. It's just right there.
Yeah, you know what else is on that website? Links to our Discord, where you can join the discussion. We talk about episodes, Patreon bonus episodes. We talk about what we're cooking, our pets, everything, hobbies, everything. It's great. It's a fantastic place to hang. Come visit us on Discord.
And we also, if you want to hang out with us, you can hang out with us on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Look us up on there, Spoilers Intended Podcast. Every week we're posting what the episode's going to be, other stuff out there as well. You know, see us out there. Leave us a like. Leave us a comment. Don't stop the music.
I know. Please don't. Just let it.
Just bring it right back up.
Yeah.
All right, and we are past the spoiler wall. We were ready to get into some spoilers, I think. We had some good discussion.
We were getting there, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we should start with a little bit of trivia here.
Trivia.
Okay. So as I said, this is the most expensive movie in Japanese cinematic history.
That's crazy.
Good for you, Miyazaki.
Yeah. Way to go, guy. Come out of retirement and be like, take this. This movie grossed $1.8 billion in its opening weekend in Japan.
That's yen.
Yen. Sorry, yen. Yeah. In Japan. More than any other. Yeah.
Oppenheimer's like, what?
Yen. Yeah. More than any other Studio Ghibli film, surpassing Howl's Moving Castle in 2004, which opened with 1.48 billion yen. Mm-hmm. Domestically, here in the U.S., this grossed $13 million in its opening weekend, more than any other original anime film, surpassing Hayao Miyazaki's own Ponyo from 2008 that had $3.6 million.
It also beat Spirited Away, which grossed $15 million for its total runtime.
Total run, but this is like opening.
Yeah, this is opening weekend. Yeah.
It was also Miyazaki's first film to open at #1 in the domestic box office.
That's crazy. I mean,
which is wild to me because it's probably his most unkid-friendly movie.
It definitely is.
And literally the least marketable film he's had. And he proved it by being like, don't do marketing.
Yeah, and it's like #1, and he's probably like, what?
Well, but I think it's definitely one of those where, he came out of retirement for it. It already had weird buzz because he didn't want it to be marketed.
Right.
And it had incredibly good critical praise going into it.
Right, yeah.
Like, I didn't see a single bad thing about it, and I was like, okay, this is probably a masterpiece. And it probably is.
It probably is, yeah, absolutely.
Just a lot to unpack.
I think I just need to watch it maybe 1 or 2 more times to really
I think so too.
Let it sink in.
So real quick, Miyazaki started working on the film in 2016 without even receiving an official green light. So he just started
hanging out after hours drawing.
Presumably, I mean, that means storyboarding probably.
Probably, yeah. He's probably not like animating keys.
So, yeah, I would.
I just imagine like his storyboards, he just has like, I've already animated the first half of the film. Yeah. You're welcome.
I did it on the ones like Akira. Leave me alone. Yeah. So Miyazaki originally hoped to finish and release the film in the summer of 2020 to coincide with the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, Japan, which were postponed to 2021.
Freaking COVID, man.
So as of December 2019, the film was announced to be 15% complete after 3.5 years of work. Producer Toshiro Suzuki
crack the whip to get it out there by mid 2020.
I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
it was like that was never going to happen.
With how much animation is in this film, like I get it.
So producer Suzuki explained that Miyazaki in the past would be able to direct 7 to 10 minutes of animation per month. That was like his rate,
that's his thing. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And they had scheduled about 5 minutes of animation per month, or about 1 hour per year on the film. Which is like, when you think about it, it's a 2-hour film, it's 2 years.
That honestly kind of lines up.
I know, yeah. When I first read that, I was like, oh my God. But then it's like, wait, no, okay.
Well, no, I mean, you have to think about it from, all of these individual frames have to be animated.
Right,
well, they did, I think the crowd bit at the start of the film when he's trying, like when the fire happens.
Yeah.
I think that came up in a piece where it was like this 25 seconds of animation was like 4 months or something like that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. It's beautiful.
But it's insane.
However,
it's terrifying, but also beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. But Miyazaki was only directing about 1 minute of animation per month, presumably because of his advanced age and smoking. I gotta have another cigarette break, guys. I'm sorry. This is the first animated film in history to open the Toronto International Film Festival.
Oh,
which is wild. And it's crazy because it's one of those things where like all of his previous works have paved the way for so much of both moment. The box office success, the critical reception, the film festival opening. It's because of everything else he's
legacy.
Done.
His name's on it. Studio Ghibli's name is on it.
Yeah.
Like that in and of itself comes with this seal and expectation already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So some small stuff here. So while the main character, Mahito, looks over some books in his room, the covers of the books allude to other Ghibli projects, if you pay attention to them.
Oh, okay.
Some of them, like one of them has a stag that's very similar to the forest god from Princess Mononoke. There's like a red turtle. There's stuff in there, Easter eggs, if you're looking for that. The Japanese title, so this is something that I kind of wanted to get into, but I wanted to wait till after spoilers, of the book, or the Japanese title is How Do You Live? ? Right? Which is the same as a 1937 novel by Genzaburo Yoshino, an editor and writer of children's literature, that this is basically roughly based on.
And that was the working title of the film for a while.
Yeah. And so in the American release, that's when they changed it to The Boy and the Heron. Because again, in Japan, it translates to How Do You Live?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay.
So because of that, in Japan, sales of the novel How Do You Live skyrocketed on the flea market, because this book's been like long.
It's been out of print forever. Yeah.
So much so that copies just were in short supply, and the demand made the publisher reprint the novel.
Nice.
Because they were
That's cool.
This is like going places. But I think before I hit these last couple things, that like I would have expected the kind of movie it is a little more if it had been titled How Do You Live? But I think that's a very hard title to market.
Don't market it.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you go, if you're just
rules.
going to the theater and it's like, how do you live? And you're like, ugh, that sounds deep and depressing. Whereas like the boy,
deep and depressing.
The Kid and the Goose, that sounds pretty fun.
I don't want to feel emotions today. Let's watch The Kid and the Goose.
So 3 members of the English voice cast previously lent their voices to other English dubs.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale in Howl's Moving Castle. Willem Dafoe was Cobb in Tales from Earthsea. And I feel like he did something else too.
That's not a Miyazaki film.
No, it's Ghibli films.
It's Ghibli though.
Yeah, it's a Ghibli film.
That's what it said.
Yeah.
Isn't it his
Mark Hamill was mayor.
So it's still technically a Miyazaki.
Hey, I got him. Technicality. Mark Hamill was the mayor in Nazca in the Valley of the Wind, and he was Colonel Muska in Castle in the Sky.
Yeah.
The last little bit of dumb trivia, then we'll get into our spoiler-filled thoughts. With Robert Pattinson voicing the Heron in the English dub.
Had to do like what, 5 different voices or
probably, yeah. This makes the 3rd Batman actor to voice the title role in a Ghibli movie in the English dub. Michael Keaton in Porco Rosso, Christian Bale in Howl's Moving Castle, and now Robert Pattinson as the Heron.
So basically, if you're Batman, there's
you gotta
a high chance you're going to be a
George Clooney, come on down!
Yeah, get in here. Yeah, that's
incredible.
I thought that was really funny. I was like, way to go, Pattinson. You've joined the Batman Ghibli Club.
I mean, Pattinson's a fantastic actor.
I mean, like,
he really is.
If you want to be in like, hey, we're going to put you in the same pantheon as Bale's Batman and Keaton's Batman, like, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so let's get into our spoiler thoughts here. So for me, and again, this kind of goes off what we were saying beforehand. what I was craving from the movie that I didn't get was like a little more closure and interaction with him and his mother, the young version of his mother. Because I thought, okay, the way this is going, he's going to meet her in this dreamlike world. He's going to have some catharsis and kind of like accept that his mother's gone. And then he's going to...
No, I thought you got some of that.
A tiny amount.
It's a very Japanese level of that.
This is definitely Miyazaki's most Japanese film.
It is for sure.
Like, even more like in Wind Rises, I would definitely consider pretty like Japanese. Like in tone. This is like that is like surface level. This is like really, really deep if you're not like familiar with like, I'll say, Japanese storytelling tropes.
Right. Yeah. No, and I think it was just I was craving a little more closure with the like
a little
the
more emotional payoff.
and at the same time a little more acceptance of his new mom.
Yeah.
That like it did technically happen, but it just like it was there, but I wanted more of that.
Yeah.
Also, can we like unpack that? Like his dad just like did it with his aunt like really quickly after his mom died, and it was like, what's happened? She's pregnant already.
This was pretty commonplace back then.
This is a cultural thing. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay.
Well, I like how they kind of, it was kind of hinted at.
Yeah.
But they didn't really explicitly say it until like halfway through the film. You're like, it is her sister.
I know. Yeah. They kind of beat around it a little bit, and then I was like, so has he never met his aunt before? You know, that was my like. The thing that confused me.
It's just an awkward relationship right now.
Yeah, I'm your aunt. Also, your new mom? I don't know.
Call me mom. Also, you have a brother.
Something that I thought of, and this was after, I got out of the movie, was like, in the movie, he's talking about like, I built this world. Here's these blocks. Like, I want to pass this on. I was like, that feels very much like a Miyazaki thing of like, I've built this empire of animation. I have done this. I've got to pass this on. Will someone let me retire, please?
Why can't my son be a better director?
It's possible that that could be like, that's the thing. There's so many different like things that he's trying to say in this film that I really need to see it another time.
I agree. I
to be able to unpack everything because I got out of it. I was like, he said so much in this, and I maybe got like 10%.
Yeah. Well, because you for me at least, the beginning of it, it's kind of slow. Right?
It takes about halfway through the film before it even turns into a Ghibli film.
Before it turns into,
it takes a long time before you're like, what's the hook here? Like, what's the grab?
And I kept waiting, and I was like, all right, this Heron,
because you can tell,
kind of creepy.
The
Mario's coming out of this
creepy
thing,
and like something's going on, right? We're having weird things happen, but it's like we haven't gotten to that point.
So I think one of the things that, like, at least for me, about like, I'll say 1/4 of the way through the film, I was like, okay, this is definitely a very slow film just based on the music that he has in it. So I was like, I just need to, kind of push back my expectations of like, it's not Spirited Away where like you have like the car chase through the woods and then you're immediately in
the new realm,
into the new realm, where this is like clearly like he's going to be setting this up for a while.
Can I say though that in that early first quarter of the film or whatever, there was a moment where when he's like at the new school, right?
Yes.
And then he's going to leave and the boys confront him. And then it cuts to him walking down the road by himself, a little dusty, a little beat up. And I was like, oh man, he beat the crap out of these kids, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Then he picks up the rock and he hurts himself like out of the rage or the malice in that moment or whatever. But like in that moment, I was like, oh, our main character just absolutely just curb stomp these kids. Dude. Like the playground's like littered with broken bodies.
At first, I read that moment of like, oh, he just doesn't want to go to school, so he's going to hurt himself so bad.
That's what I started
he wanted to do it to get back at the kids.
Right.
And like and I think that's one of the reasons why he's such a hard character to like get behind, because
it's hard to like him.
Yeah, it's hard to like him, and I think that's kind of the point.
Right. Yeah.
Is that like not every main character in a Ghibli film has to be a likable character.
Or also like, again, to maybe dive into some of what it maybe is trying to say. I don't know, but like unlikable people have stories too.
Yeah,
there's stuff going on in everyone's background in the world, right? Whether or not you like this person or not, there's stuff going on. So let's explore it
I think to me, you kind of hit it on the head, Andrew. Of like he says so much in this movie that like that's the difference and the problem / it's a bug. It's a feature, not a bug of the movie. is that like with most of his other films, it's like there's something he's trying to say, and he says it through these
and
weird.
It's like generally like one or two things, and he's like, and he gets it across.
This is like 15
This is
messages.
like, you don't know, it introduces a second thing when you're like, we haven't even, on the first thing, I don't even know what we're talking about. Where are we at now?
And now it's like down like three tiers down to a sub tier.
So do the boats represent society? It's like people, afterlife, and then it's like these wisps are going up.
I
and
love
like,
those things. They're so cute, though.
Some of these become people, and you're like, okay. And then the birds are
Wada-wadas.
eating them, and you're like, so what does that mean? Does that mean that person doesn't get born? Where did these birds come from? Like there's so many.
Why were the pelicans banished?
Yeah, what'd they do?
And then you have what was the noble pelican. Is
Yeah.
how it was credited, but that was Willem Dafoe's
Yes.
character
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the English cast, and he has his little bit, and you're like, whoa, okay, so this is like not the clear cut thing, because when you're first introduced to the pelicans,
You're like, well, they're just evil.
these pelicans are horrible creatures,
Yeah.
like forcing them through to the graves of the dead or whatever because they're hungry.
And they're eating all the little babies that aren't babies yet.
I know. It's like, what am I unpacking with this? I think the animation, though, like just to pivot to that, because we've kind of talked about the story. It's not that it's unsatisfying. It's just that it's definitely a lot.
Well, and I think there's a lot of elements that get introduced a little bit too late, particularly like the parakeets and like the parakeet kingdom.
Yeah, which also
That it feels
incredible. Seeing all those
it's
parakeets,
amazing,
I was
yeah.
like, I love the design of these birds.
They drop the birds on you. You're like, okay, yeah, this is weird. I think then it's like they have a society and a king,
And they have Nazi flags.
and also like within again
Yeah.
the English cast, the king is Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista.
which is an incredible casting.
He does great.
Oh my
by the
God.
way.
But yeah, like there's definitely like a lot like that gets introduced later on, like late in the film, like in the final quarter. I'm just like, this could have been like at the beginning.
We needed this to enter a little earlier.
We had a little bit of an idea of like where this was going. And again, I like, kind of going back to my analogy, like this is very much Miyazaki just doing a free jazz session just with the $94 million picture.
Yeah,
and
no,
like, and
you're
that's-
right. Yeah.
Like, and it's just one of those where it's like it's incredibly personal to him, and he needed to do it for himself,
Right.
Not he needed to do it for the audience. And it's just like, you're here, like,
Right. Yeah, you're here. Well, and I don't know how much of the story is based on the book. How much
and
of
how
it
much is
Well,
like,
'cause,
is
like,
self-insert.
Miyazaki's mother, from what I looked up, like had spinal tuberculosis, and she was hospitalized a lot when he was younger. But I don't think she died in the hospital. I think
She didn't die in fire bombings, did she?
No.
No.
And so that's why I'm like, was that part from the book? But he is
Yeah.
trying to unpack his mother's death. Like there's a lot of like blurred lines, I think,
Yeah,
between the possible source material, his actual
life.
autobiographical part of it, and the story he's trying to tell
Yeah.
on top of it. So it is a challenging watch on multiple levels.
Yeah.
That I think it's not that like it's bad. It's just I really came out of it very conflicted, and I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're not recommending the movie sometimes, but it's not that.
Yeah,
It's-
like, well, I mean, okay, so let's stop talking about the story and let's talk about like the animation.
Yeah, animation's incredible. I think there's so many scenes where it just blows me away. Like the when his father, I can't remember the exact character's name, but his dad is like fighting the parakeets as they're turning into little parakeets.
Yeah.
Well, and they're all flying past him,
Yeah.
and they're all changing shape and size as they go by.
And like, there's this
and they're all
low shot with
pooping on
him
'em.
running at the tunnel, and then it cuts to, and they're coming out. Yeah, they're changing size, and like any kind of Miyazaki movie, there's so many little things happening in the background.
Yeah.
Like especially when the parakeet army, has him and they're escorting him, and one of them's got the knife behind his thing.
Yep.
When they all are standing around him in a group, there's this one at the back like licking his chops, like just ready to eat, and they all have individual expressions,
And they
if
all
you
have
look
personalities.
around,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things you have to watch it multiple times to catch all the different
So much
things.
going on in that one moment.
And yeah, there's definitely like some moments that are CG, here and there, like going up some stairs at the front, things like that.
They
but-
have like some CG textures on like the tapestry in front of like the delivery room, which is,
Well, yeah.
it's like that
incredibly minor.
It's so minor,
thing,
but it's
yeah.
just because the animation is so beautiful. Whenever they have those moments, I'm like, yep.
Or like
Yeah.
the sequence when they sink into the floor.
Yes, yeah.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, and that,
But it didn't detract necessarily.
no, but it's definitely one of those things where it's like trying to hand animate something like that, especially with like the type of like pattern and stuff that's on the tapestry. Like, no way. Yeah,
no
hard
way.
pass.
No, yeah, it'd be
like,
I
mean, like that's like another like 5 months of animation for what, a 5-second
sequence.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's 5 months of animation you could spend elsewhere.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. You know what I mean? Like, I think of all the studios that mix CG with that stuff, they do a really good job of like, okay, this is where it would make sense. Like, we're only doing this because otherwise we wouldn't get this incredible scene later, because all that time would be spent doing this when we could do it in a computer in a week, or whatever. So back to the score, right?
Like, so this was like the most non-Ghibli soundtrack.
It was very different,
and it's amazing.
It's great. So what are some of your favorite tracks on this one?
Okay, so we already listened to The Great Collapse.
Yep.
That's that opening. Just,
because you know something, like whenever like
Something's
you hear
up.
that, you know something's up and something is not right.
That's a very Spirited Away opening.
It is.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I really love that Joe did with this soundtrack is he used the piano a lot more than what I feel he does in the past. And obviously this is all strings right now.
Well, but even the string section, it's a smaller string section.
Yes, it's
like,
only it doesn't
few.
feel like a full orchestra.
No, it feels like 6 to 8
full
instruments.
Room. No.
Yeah. And so it's very like understated, but still, I don't know. The space, there's like this term in music, it's like the notes that you don't play are as important as the ones you do. Like the space between the stuff has almost as big of an impact.
Like you have a lot of negative space in there. So go to
so good. There's a lot of moments in the music where you rest in the music. Like it's called rest in music. It's literally a rest of the music.
Go to Ask Me Why, Mother's Message, which is the most played one on the album on Spotify. And this is a much slower one. It's only like 2 minutes long, but just these kind of like just hits.
Letting those notes carry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it's definitely one of those where like when I'm listening to it, like it's just you feel the raw emotion of this.
Yeah.
Like even the scene in the film, I was like, oh, I'm like tearing up, and I don't have any connection to this character right now at all. Just
I love Waluigi.
Well, just because the music is so good.
Yeah. And you're right. Compared to a lot of Miyazaki
Other Ghibli stuff,
scores and Ghibli scores, it's like very
anti-Ghibli because most of the time it's like very like orchestral and really big and moving.
It's almost got like a little John Williams to it.
A little bit.
This doesn't.
Yeah. Like, and this is so personal. I don't even know. Like it's just.
Yeah. Well, especially this in particular. This is, borderline just a piano solo.
Yes.
Yeah. Some good stuff. So it
really is.
Some really good music.
The music and the visuals and just the overall presentation. And I Steven, get your thoughts on this, but like I thought the English dub was great. Not just Pattinson, but everybody did pretty good.
Well, and I'll say this too, like the Japanese dub was phenomenal. Like there wasn't anything that was objectionable about it at all. Like it was very, very good.
But if you are ever thinking, I want to watch an anime, Japanese film, but I don't want to read. Ghibli is incredibly reliable because they consistently have great dubs.
They do.
And this is a really spectacular example of it.
Yeah.
We already mentioned like Dave Bautista as the Parakeet King was fantastic. As soon as he started talking, I was like, oh, that's Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill, obviously,
he kills it just by default.
Yeah.
I really thought that he was the Heron for basically when they introduced the uncle.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's also Mark Hamill? And then the credits hit, and it was like, that was Robert Pattinson. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done. It's just, I definitely feel like it's one of those movies that you need to watch multiple times.
And I think it'll get better
the theme here,
every time you watch it. Because you're not having to pay attention to every single individual change of story threads and everything like this. So you can pay attention to other things in the scenes and kind of like what he's trying to say.
I can very easily see someone getting lost in this though. Like if you're not a fan of Miyazaki movies and anime, and this is like I'm going to watch an anime. See that Kid in the Goose movie, and then you watch it, you come out of this going like, I don't know which way is up.
Yeah. It's definitely not a beginner's
entry level.
Yeah.
And I will say, in comparison to say something like Grave of the Fireflies, this is not the kind of film where at the end of it you're like, oh, that was so much, I don't know if I'm going to watch this again. This is a film where it's easy to say, I want to watch it again to try and pick more of this apart.
Yes.
It does not crush you.
No, it's not. It's not so heavy. Yeah, that it like
There's just a lot going on.
Okay, so would you recommend it? Let's go around. Andrew, would you recommend this movie?
Only to someone who is a seasoned anime viewer and someone that you have to be in the mood for it. Well, I mean, I hate to be a gatekeeper like that.
No. It is a like if you're like, well, I've never seen a Ghibli film.
Don't watch this.
This film is in the theaters, and no. Let me sit you down. We're gonna do a little Totoro, little Spirited Away, a little Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah. It's definitely like an advanced level viewing.
Yeah. The only people I would recommend this to who aren't already Miyazaki fans, anime fans, would be people who are fans of like obscure foreign movies,
art house
stuff.
If you're like big A24 fan,
you could.
I could see a lot of that lining up here.
Even more obscure than that, like Ingmar Bergman, like French films.
Oh Lord, okay.
But like the Toronto Film Festival, like if you're going to that, then this movie is probably in line with a lot of other esoteric movies that have like multiple layers and require multiple viewings. Yeah. So you could probably be like, okay, got it. Right. This might be the best Miyazaki movie for you if that's like your style of stuff. Yeah. But I would say, the average person.
It's not a kid's film.
This is definitely not a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Like the parakeets are cute, but
like they're not in it enough for it to matter.
No. Okay, so would you rewatch it? I think all of us is a resounding yes on that one.
We want to rewatch it because there's so much more to get out of it.
It's a dense film, but I also want to watch it again for the animation, for the musical score, like everything.
Yeah, I think so. All right, well, let's talk about our Patreon.
$1.
For $1, the low price of $1, you get access to all of our bonus episodes. And these episodes are different from our normal episodes if you've never listened to one. We go off the rails. We have one where we do a tier list of Halloween candies. And we got very sick doing that episode afterwards.
My stomach still hurts.
Thinking about it.
Off microphone, we got very sick.
All I can say is when that comes up, my body is just like, at least it's not Buffalo Rock Ginger Ale.
Oh, yeah. We did soda tier list, and the Buffalo Rock Ginger Ale was like the gasoline, a match being thrown into the gasoline at the end of a pile of sodas in our digestive system.
It was like SRK whenever he threw the cigar into the motorcycle.
It was very similar.
And it blows up in front of a bunch of bad guys.
When that happened, I was like, I know that feeling.
What's going on?
I've experienced that.
Buffalo Rock, huh?
We also have, commentaries over there that are like Mystery Science Theater 3000. You sync up the podcast with the movie. We did one for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was a wild one. We did Starship Troopers, which is a lot of fun. We've got the Phantom Menace is actually on our main feed. So if you're like, that sounds interesting, but I don't know if I want to pay $1 for it. Hey,
just go watch Phantom Menace. It's a good movie.
Scroll back in the main feed, find it.
If you want to get a taste of any of our bonus episodes, we have previews of all of our bonus episodes on the main feed. You can try before you buy.
Yeah, one of our most recent ones, we had a trivia game show, which Ryan thought he had an upper hand on me, but
I had so much fun.
He didn't.
No, it was incredible the way Andrew cheated in that one, and the way Steven did not hear my buzzers like after Andrew. It's great.
You mean this buzzer?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it was a fantastic one. But yeah, thanks to all of our patrons. Your support makes this show possible. But that sounds like all the time we have. So as always, follow us on social, leave us a review wherever you're listening now, and share us with a friend. Until next time, I'm Ryan.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Steven.
And every spoiler was intended.